इलेक्ट्रॉन्स के दरमियान रिपल्जन ज्यादा होगी और उसकी एनर्जी ज्यादा होगी, जिसकी वजह से उसकी आयनाइजेशन एनर्जी कम हो जाएगी।
मैं आपका क्वेश्चन समझा नहीं, स्टार्ट में आई मिस्ड सम वर्ड्स। आपने ये कहा कि आपने कहा
सर यहाँ
हाफ
पे
फील्ड
आपको दिखाई,
ऑर्बिटल होगा। हम्म।
यस सर, उसमें ग्रुप 16 में जाते वक्त हम हाफ फील्ड ऑर्बिटल में एक और इलेक्ट्रॉन ऐड करेंगे
हम्म।
ग्रुप 16। तो उसकी वजह से उसमें इलेक्ट्रॉन के दरमियान रिपल्जन भी आ जाएगी सर।
हम्म।
तो ऑर्बिटल की एनर्जी जो है वो ज्यादा हो जाएगी और आयनाइजेशन एनर्जी कम।
ऑर्बिटल एनर्जी ज्यादा हो जाएगी, ऑर्बिटल एनर्जी ज्यादा होती है। सो
सर
ऑर्बिटल एनर्जी,
एक्चुअली
ऑर्बिटल एनर्जी का ट्रेंड अगर आपको याद हो, यू हैव
सर
सीन सम सॉर्ट ऑफ ग्राफ्स, इस तरह करके डिक्रीज हो रहे हैं, इस तरह हो रहे हैं। दे आर इन एनी केस डिक्रीजिंग एज यू आर मूविंग अलोंग द पीरियड। सो अगर
जी
यहाँ पे
सर,
नाइट्रो, हाँ हाँ,
सर इलेक्ट्रॉन के दरमियान रिपल्जन की वजह से भी तो ऑर्बिटल एनर्जी
listen,
ज्यादा हो जाएगी।
listen, listen. There are several factors, but here we are discussing that which one is the prominent one. So this adding by adding electron here, right? So yes, there is repulsion, but now we need to know which factor is dominant. So this is very less. I can say the shell can accommodate two electrons. Yes, there will be electron repulsion in the same shell. You have seen Slater's rule before, where the shielding value when the shell is the same is only 0.35. So it is already very small amount, right? So it won't be the deciding factor here, right? So this, when we talk about orbital energy, we need to discuss this z square and this n square. Obviously there is RH and the minus sign here, but these two factors, as I have stated it before, as you are moving along the period, the deciding factor is this one. As you're moving down the group, the deciding factor is this one. So this electron repulsion is very minute, as already seen by this Slater's rule as well. So because the electron is residing in the same shell, there won't be effective shielding. Okay, so let's take our discussion forward. So now talk about the groups. This is the first group. The ionization energy obviously will decrease because the size is increasing, right? So right after cesium, there is francium, not shown in this graph, but the ionization energy trend is deviating. The trend is deviating. Why exactly? Because cesium, and then we have this one, and having atomic number 87, right? So now again, the discussion stays the same. Uh, the valence orbital is s orbital, atomic number has been increased by an appreciable amount. Now, due to relativistic effect, this size will shrink, leading to increase in ionization energy for such elements, right? After cesium, the francium's ionization energy is actually increased, deviating from the general trend, right? सेम केस विल बी, अगर मैं यहाँ पे रेडियम का भी मेरे पास डाटा होता, द सेम ट्रेंड वुड बी ट्रांसलेटेड हेयर एज वेल, and same would be in case of d. All d orbitals, these d orbitals after right, so have the same valence shell. So the first row of d orbitals have 3d4s configuration, the second row has 4d5s, and the third has obviously 5d6s, right? So the orbitals are the electrons are being added in this d orbitals, but the valence orbital is s, right? So due to this, their the relativistic effect will be prominent, and their size will decrease appreciably. Once this size is decreased, you can see their ionization energy is actually increasing as you are moving down the group, right? So all these elements, they have valence orbital s, right? So their ionization energy will increase. Specifically, you can see in all cases, gold here, mercury here, सबके केस में ionization energy increase हो गई है because the orbital is shrink by an appreciable amount due to relativistic effect. So now let's talk about these p block elements. Obviously relativistic effect यहाँ पे होता जरूर है, but it's not prominent. As you can see again, as I'm moving down the group, the trend is being followed, right? It's not the case that lead has the higher ionization energy, unlike these elements, right? The same trend here, same here, and same here. Ionization energy is decreasing. Why? Because the size is increasing. So any questions? So we are simply relating all the previous concepts. We are just connecting the dots, right? If you were good with the orbital energy trend, I hope you can go through easily towards this radius trend, ionization energy trends, and more importantly, obviously, this is the first ionization energy, right? So if you have any questions, you may ask right now.
सर जो ग्रुप 15 से 16 वाला डिक्रीज है आयनाइजेशन एनर्जी में, तो नाइट्रोजन से ऑक्सीजन, फास्फोरस से सल्फर, वो इसलिए है क्योंकि एक्सचेंज एनर्जी कंट्रीब्यूशन जो है नाइट्रोजन से ऑक्सीजन वो कम होती है,
वो
तो इसलिए
जीरो
आयनाइजेशन एनर्जी कम हो जाती है, और ये दोनों ग्रुप्स के डाउन सेम ट्रेंड होता है।
जी सेम होता है। प्रोमिनेंट इसमें सेकंड पीरियड है, ज्यादा स्मॉल साइज होता है, ज्यादा प्रोमिनेंट हियर है, इधर है, बट आगे भी आप देख सकते हो। सो अगर आपको मैं क्वांटिटेटिवली डेटा दे दूं, यू कैन कनेक्ट, यू कैन मेक द सेंस के आइदर इट विल बी डिक्रीजिंग like in case of nitrogen to oxygen, or it won't increase by the same amount. So both factors can be discussed, right? So here it is clearly it is decreasing, here it is can be seen clearly decreasing, but I'm not sure because obviously this is 3D graph. Here either it is exactly same or slightly increase or decrease. So if you draw the graph, so it is like this and then this. So this is, you can discuss this as well. Exchange energy की वजह से maybe ये increase ही हो रहा हो, but it won't be increasing by the same amount.
ठीक है, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so let's move forward.
आप एक दफा सीजियम और फ्रांशियम वाली बात रिपीट कर देंगे प्लीज?
So I was saying that as we are moving down the group, after cesium we have francium here, and this is S block, and as I'm moving down the group, we have seen the trend of the radius as well. The radius was increasing till cesium. Ideally it should increase in case of francium, but it is actually smaller than cesium. Why? Because due to relativistic effect, the s orbital of francium has been shrinked by an appreciable amount. Again, the reason is same, due to higher velocity, because in the atomic number is 87 in case of francium, right? So it is obviously greater than 71. So 71, why I'm saying, because this particular element, यहाँ पे F block elements होते हैं, उसके बाद ये element आता है. So for simplicity, you can remember either the atomic number is 71 or higher for relativistic effect to be prominent. So once it is prominent, the size will decrease appreciably, leading to increase in ionization energy.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So now there is electron affinity. Affinity, how how likely an element will accept an electron, right? So there are two ways quoting the electron affinity. In some books it is exactly stated like this: electron affinity is negative because when electron is added, the system gets stabilized and energy is being released from the system. So so here the magnitude is important. Another way of stating that, because the energy was released, obviously, and you have seen that released energy, we correspond this to enthalpy of the reaction, right? So that was the amount that was subtracted from the energy, right? Or the energy was released. So electron affinity, if they are quoting some positive values, that basically means how likely an atom will accept an electron, right? So simply, electron is being added to the outermost shell of a neutral atom, and obviously you know that this only happens to those guys where we have they want to complete their octet, obviously 6th or 7th groups mostly. Why exactly? Because oxygen requires 2 electrons. This fluorine require only 1 electron. All the group members, they require 1 electron to complete their electronic configuration similar to the corresponding noble gas. So that's why the system gets stabilized, orbital is filled, and energy is released from the system. So simply, what is electron affinity? The ability to accept the extra electron in the outermost shell, and how we state here in terms of enthalpy or state in terms of electron affinity. So same again, we are going to link this trend towards our radius trend, and you have seen that what happens exactly as the radius is small. If this is the nucleus, if the radius is small, the nucleus will have higher probability to attract the incoming electron into this shell, right? So that's the general trend you have seen, right? So what's the trend exactly? As we are moving along the period, electron affinity increases because the size is decreasing. As I'm going down the group, what's the general trend? Electron affinity will decrease because the size is increasing, right? So the nucleus will have less probability to attract the extra electron towards the shell, right? So that's the general trend. Now let's look at the exceptions. Again, this particular second period already discussed several times as second period anomaly. So you know that there is nucleus, there are shells around, obviously. So once the size is extra small, the already electrons that are residing in the closer shells will have higher electron density. What exactly I mean by, so if the shell is relatively large, suppose, and there are 2 electrons here, so electron density will be less because this electron here and here, it has higher path, or it can consider the figure of this orbital in 3D form. So you can imagine the electron density will be less compared to these smaller orbitals. So if the orbital is extra small, these electrons residing here will form higher electron density. So this only applies to second period, where the size is so small that these electrons form so much electron density that the incoming electron, obviously this nucleus will attract this electron, and you are already experiencing that the energy is being released, but it will deviate from the trend. Why exactly? Because this higher density is causing some shielding, some repulsion to the outer electron. So what should be the general trend? Fluorine is the smallest, should have the highest electron affinity, but it's not the case. Why exactly? Due to second period anomaly, or due to extra small size of fluorine, right? It deviates from the trend. It is obviously getting stabilized. It does have some negative enthalpy, but it is deviating from the trend. But the trend will be followed after this atom, the chlorine, bromine, iodine. Chlorine का सबसे कम size है इन तीनों में. It has highest electron affinity, then this one, and then this one, right? So that's the case. That's the first factor. When we are talking about electron affinity, do keep in mind the second period behaves abnormally. It is called a second period anomaly. What's the second factor? It's so here we have the complete chart describing electron affinities. So you know that electron is being added in the outermost shell. Once we have this sort of configuration, as in case of fluorine, chlorine, you can see the extra electron. There are more chances of electron being added because the shell is being completed. So the other exceptions lies where the shell is already filled. When the shell is filled, it won't accept any electron, no matter its size is smaller or higher. This particular one, 2s2, 3s2, 4s2, 5s2, 6s2. So here size was extremely small, relatively small. So the electron affinity is 0 or even less than 0. And again, this is very, very small. It is deviating from the trend, right? The trend says that electron affinity should increase along the period, but it's not increasing for these elements. Why? Because the shell is already full. इसके अलावा शेल फुल कहाँ पे होता है? दिस पर्टिकुलर, यहाँ पे D10 सिस्टम आ जाता है, जिंक, कैडमियम, मरकरी, 0 इलेक्ट्रॉन एफिनिटी. और शेल कहाँ फुल होता है? नोबल गैस की केस में 0 इलेक्ट्रॉन एफिनिटी, राइट? सो दैट्स द अदर फैक्टर जहाँ पे ट्रेंड आपका डेविएट करेगा. द थर्ड वन इज exchange energy again, or where there are half filled orbitals. This is the case of nitrogen. Same discussion. We have seen this discussion in ionization energy because we were removing electron in particular in that case. तब हमने oxygen की ये configuration देखी थी, and we discussed that if I remove this electron, the exchange energy contribution. So I hope you are familiar with exchange energy. Exchange energy means there is some extra stabilization towards shell. Once it is giving some extra stabilization, so it won't, the electron won't be removed easily in case of ionization energy. So the exchange energy is causing stabilization. So in case of oxygen, when I remove this electron, the ion minus atom exchange energy contribution is 0. So there is no extra stabilization. So oxygen के case में electron remove करना आसान था. That was deviation in case of ionization energy. Here we are adding electrons. That's why we look into nitrogen. So why nitrogen is deviating, or this whole group is deviating from the trend? Because the exchange, it is already stabilized by exchange energy. So if I add extra electron here, suppose I add extra electron here, so there is no extra exchange energy stabilization. Once there is no extra stabilization, so it is quite less likely this system will accept electron. So the discussion is the same, the concept is the same, only we are talking about in different ways. Now we are discussing electron affinity. Previously we were discussing electron affinity. So let's look at this group. 0, 72, but deviating from the trend. The trend says it should increase along the period. It should increase along the period. It is deviating, right? So up till now. So now again 116 to 103, it is decreasing, right? So in very simple, in simple periods, when I say simple, I am talking about second or third, because they don't have any d orbital or f orbital or extra shielding caused by inner electrons like in case of d and f orbitals. So here the effect is more prominent or more easy to discuss, I would say. And any half filled orbitals will show the same trend. They won't accept electron easily, right? So these are some of the anomalies or exceptions in electron affinity trend. Here they have pointed that this is half filled d orbital. So we haven't discussed d orbital in detail as far as electronic configuration is concerned. आपको पता है क्रोमियम की थोड़ी डिफरेंट होती है, जो जनरल आप लोग लिखते हो SS और PS वे में इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कॉन्फ़िगरेशन, और you can write in such form इस तरह करके, right? So chromium deviates and copper deviates as well. So we have not seen, so that's why आपको इसका question नहीं आएगा कि electronic configuration आपको आनी चाहिए, but you do know, you do need to know that once the orbital is half filled, it will cause deviation in the trend of electron affinity. So any questions? So why this is slightly more important in the sense that there are several factors that are leading to exceptions in the trend. Second period anomaly है, full filled shells हैं, half filled shells हैं. अभी तक आपके mind में full complete filled shells यही आते हैं कि भाई when the N is completed, but L value is important here as well. Like in this case, here L is completely filled. I'm talking about L equals to 0 here, and then L equals to 2 here, and then obviously L equals to 1 here. A principal quantum number is also complete. So any complete filled shell will accept no electrons, no matter their value is N or L. So any questions? So that's the same second period anomaly जो मैं already discuss कर चुका हूँ, that the trend should increase along the period, but due to this extra small size, oxygen and fluorine deviates from the trend. So अभी हमने complete एक lecture करना है electronegativity. So now we are moving our discussion towards molecules instead of individual atoms, right? So ideally formula given here, they have explained every factor kaun sa kya hai. So let's go through it quickly. What is electronegativity? When two atoms are forming bond, right? So the one having higher probability to attract the electron itself. So जो electron यहाँ पे shared होते हैं वो उस atom की तरफ ज़्यादा चले जाते हैं. Why exactly? Because that electron has more liking towards electron और उसकी electronegativity ज़्यादा होती है. How he defined Pauling defined it like when in a molecule the power of an atom to attract electrons to itself, right? So you know HCl की केस में क्लोरीन की ज़्यादा होती है, so that's why इस पे negative charge होता है partially, and here we have partial positive charge. It is a covalent bond obviously. So how they computed, जो भी दो elements जिनका आपने contribution ये find करना है suppose, so आपको उनके similar homonuclear bonds का पता होना चाहिए. अगर HCl है इसका homonuclear bond H2 में होगा, and here we have Cl2. Once you do have these bond energies, right, and bond strength of HCl would be half of these two. The very simple formula, bond strength आपने H2 की यहाँ put करनी Cl की, then you simply divide by 2 to get the bond strength of HCl, and here they have computed. So that's the formula, and these are basically electronegativities, right? So अगर आपको bond energy is given हो, right, so you can get some idea of electronegativities as well. So that's pretty simple. All right, so your question is, you can ask if it's not clear.
सर पहले जो कुछ किया हुआ एक सवाल है पिछले लेक्चर से, वो पूछूं?
At the end of lecture, अभी हमने पूरा next lecture भी cover करना है.
So ये formula explain कर दो.
So I was saying this is bond energy of this one. यहाँ पे heteronuclear bond है, A and B means different atoms. Here we have same atoms, right? So अगर आपको HCl या किसी भी electronegativity find करना आता भी है, so you need to know the bond energies, heteronuclear bond की भी and homonuclear bonds की भी, right? So once अगर हम इसी तरह HF की एग्जांपल ले लें तो H2 होगा, F2 होगा और HF, इन तीनों की बॉन्ड एनर्जीज मुझे गिवन हो, यहाँ पे हेटेरोन्यूक्लियर वाले की आ जाएगी, लाइक इन दिस केस HCl की आ जाएगी, इधर H2 इधर Cl2, दिस इज कांस्टेंट, सो इससे ट्रेंड में कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, एंड दीज आर इलेक्ट्रोनेगेटिविटी. सो ऑब्वियसली अगर आपको बॉन्ड एनर्जीज गिवन हो, आप एक्जैक्टली इलेक्ट्रोनेगेटिविटी कैलकुलेट नहीं कर सकते बिकॉज दीज आर टू वेरिएबल्स, बट इफ आई डू मेंशन electronegativity of, suppose मैं आपको हाइड्रोजन की दे देता हूँ, then obviously you have one equation and one unknown provided that you are given bond strengths, so आप उसको simply compute कर सकते हो. Is it clear now?
Yes sir.
So that's just a recap what we have how the course basically developed, or you can say we started from simply the existence of atom towards the more relevant idea, radial distribution function. हमने सारा इसको build करने के बाद we moved towards the trends, right? Orbital energy, radius हो, ionization energy हो, electron affinity हो, we all connected the trends towards this orbital energy formula, right? So we have already seen this before, so let's not serve time here and quickly move to the next lecture. Okay. Alright, so अभी हमने electronegativity को recently discuss किया because now we are moving our discussion from atoms towards molecules. So when I talk about molecules, there is the leading theory which is called molecular orbital theory. और some cases इसको short way में MOT भी कहते हैं. So what is molecular orbital theory? First of all, that was developed by quantum mechanics, and you know that quantum mechanics, we are discussing orbitals in the form of waves, right? So first thing, and the next one is obviously in quantum mechanics. So the idea is this theory has no, you can say, contradictions till now. So that's the best theory we have available. जितने भी हमने इससे, whether we are applying mathematical manipulations, right, or experimentals, this theory yields exactly the same data which is the experimental data, right? It completely corresponds to that. That's why this theory is not object, we cannot object it right now or disagree with it. So why exactly? Because now when we are talking about some theory, we have to study some postulates. You cannot question those postulates, but when we apply those postulates and we'll get the results, we will discuss those results, right? So first of all, अभी तक हमने atoms की orbitals की individual energies देखी थी. Now we compare those energy towards forming the molecules, right? So what is molecular orbital approach? Sharing leads to lowering energy. That should have happened obviously. Otherwise, अगर system stable नहीं हो रहा तो वो bond बनेगा ही नहीं. H2 के case में the energy of obviously individual hydrogen atoms is less than H2. That's why a bond बनता है. How the energy of particular bond is related to the nature of sharing. So very important, we'll see that कि how the energy of particular किसी bond की energy किस तरह relate करती है कि उसकी nature क्या है. Like हम देखेंगे bonding, anti-bonding, s orbital overlap, p orbital overlap. Why the sharing might not be equal between two atoms? That exactly happens in any heteronuclear bond जहाँ पे electronegativity difference होता है. We'll see that also. So that's there are few points which were not addressed by the previous theories. If you have studied like VSEPR before in your A levels or FSC, VSEPR or hybridization or valence band theory, so those were the previous theories. They were not able to explain these phenomena that H2 is stable or H2 is unknown. He2 unknown means this won't exist. He2 positive has been detected, although it existed for very small time, but it had been tested in the laboratory that this particular ion can exist for a short period. So we need to explain why this even existed at the first place, while He2 won't exist even for a nanosecond. N2 has stronger bond than O2. So ये भी हम इसमें देखेंगे, bond in N2 plus is weaker. So the same idea कि भी why in some ions the bond is getting stronger, like in this case, or it is getting weaker in some cases, right? So in सबको हमने discuss करना है. Very important one. This was the main idea because आपको पता है oxygen gas अगर मेरे पास है, if I super cool it, I can get oxygen in liquid form. We do have obviously even liquid nitrogen in our laboratories here at LUMS as well. उसको बहुत carefully handle करना होता है. It exists at minus like 150 or even smaller temperatures. So the experiment was simple. When they poured this liquid oxygen through the magnet, the gas was attracted towards the magnet. So at that time, this was the idea was quite different. So that was again explained by this theory, molecular orbital theory. Paramagnetic means it will be attracted towards the magnet. So let's go through the postulates of molecular orbital theory. That was just a brief overview why we are exactly discussing this theory. So now we are going to discuss, obviously in very simple case, आपको पता है ये अगर s orbital है hydrogen का, s is spherically symmetric, this is another s orbital of hydrogen. When they come approach each other, the nucleus is at the center, right? So what would you expect? Obviously there will be nucleus repulsion, there will be attraction from nucleus toward this electron here, and here we have electron as well. Is nucleus ki electron pe bhi attraction hogi. So let's discuss all the forces that are the stakeholders in this bond. Once this bond is formed, obviously agar ye s orbital hai, ye dusra, there is some sort of overlap between these two orbitals to get H2. And we already know by experiment that H2 exists, and obviously it is more stable, the energy is released in this system. So there is some orbital overlap. So once we are going to discuss orbital overlap, we need to discuss what are the factors contributing towards this bond. So first of all, as in the case of relativistic effect, you saw atomic number increases, the electron orbiting around the nucleus, its velocity increases or kinetic energy increases. If there is increase in velocity, obviously there is increase in kinetic energy as well. So so that's what's this trend, basically very important one, that there is this energy axis. Here it is 0, here energy is negative, and here it is positive, obviously. So on the scale of energy, and we are talking about the distance between these two orbitals, right? What happens exactly when they come closer? So once, suppose they are close in this way, the electrons are orbiting around the nucleus. Now there are two nucleus having one atomic number, obviously. So the velocity of electron, which was here, obviously increased in this particular case. So what this graph tells, as you are decreasing the distance between the orbitals, the kinetic energy is going to increase. That's the first factor, right? So, and that's pretty clear that once that electron now is being attracted by two nucleus having one atomic number is increased, so obviously its velocity will increase. So let's move to the second factor, potential energy due to unfavorable interaction between two positively charged nuclei. Again, it's pretty simple that those two nucleus are going to repel each other once the distance is higher. In this case, suppose agar main is point pe hu, it will be like they are far apart. So once I am coming closer, so this is going to increase exponentially. So that's pretty simple. So the other factor which is basically causing the bond to become favorable is this nucleus electron attraction. So once they are far apart,
एनर्जी वाली बात रिपीट करना प्लीज.
कौन सी वाली? Sorry,
टेंशन एनर्जी वाली.
potential energy. All right, so I was saying that once the distance is far apart, there is no okay, so once we are here, obviously the distance is far apart, so isme koi attraction or repulsion nahi hogi. Once I'm getting these orbitals closer, keep in mind obviously there is nucleus at the center, so once they are coming closer, these nucleus are going to obviously repel each other, and potential energy of the system will increase, right? Why the energy is increasing? Because I'm making the system less stable, right? Obviously, whenever there is increase in energy, there is some repulsion or some cause of same charge repulsion existing in the system, in obviously charged systems here, what we are discussing. So that's how potential energy increases due to repulsion of nucleus, both the nucleus, right? I hope it is clear.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so now I am talking, we are just moving towards the attraction between these opposite charges, right? So they have plotted here very simple case where there is one proton, when you remove electron from the hydrogen atom, only proton is left. There are no other electrons. So they have drawn the graph of very simple system where you have proton and hydrogen atom. They are coming closer. There is one electron residing in this hydrogen atom. So the attraction is quite favorable and system is getting extremely stable, right? But in our case, obviously, this is not the exact case. हमारे case में दोनों जगह electrons होते हैं, electron repulsion भी होगी, all keeping in mind all the factors. What exactly happens at this point, they are far apart. So as I am moving forward, suppose अगर मैं यहाँ तक आ गई, now they are like this, right? So shells में जो electron है, right, जो electrons shell में, obviously they are being attracted towards the other nucleus as well. So उसकी वजह से system stable हो रहा है. ये सारे factors साथ साथ चल रहे हैं. But the net amount, as you can see, ये graph बहुत exponentially decrease कर रहा है. So this basically wins till this point. यहाँ पे आप देख रहे हो, right? अभी increase होना start हुए थे दोनों. Now this increase is phenomenal right after this point, right? So what exactly is this point? This is the point which we state as the equilibrium separation, or we can even say bond length. Why we are saying bond length? Because our graph is being plotted in terms of energy and distance. So if this is the favorable, this is the distance corresponding to the favorable attraction, or the net attraction is maximum. Obviously, there are repulsions by these factors, but the net result is the energy is minimum here. So that this is what we call the bond length, basically, because we are plotting it along the dimension of length between these two orbitals. So this is the particular sort of plot of potential energy when we bring closer these two atomic orbitals, right? So it will decrease to some point and eventually it is going to increase exponentially. That's why right after this point, I have to put extremely high amount of force to make these orbitals even इसको मैं अगर मैंने ये bond if the bond is formed till now and this is the equilibrium separation, अगर मैंने मजीद इसको overlap कराना, I have to put extra force, right? So obviously we are discussing how the system is stabilized. So once the bond is formed, H2, the energy is released. पहले energy यहाँ पे थी, now energy is less, obviously. So this amount of energy is being released from the system, right? And the bond is formed. So that was pretty much with the whole factors contributing when we are making the two orbitals coming closer from the infinite distance. So any questions?
Excuse me, sir. Sir,
जी.
kinetic energy और potential energy जो है वो system को unstable कर रही है, उनका increase.
एनर्जी की डिस्कशन सेम है. अगर एनर्जी पॉजिटिव हो रही है तो वो अनस्टेबल कर रही है बिकॉज वो इंक्रीज कर रही है. अगर एनर्जी की वैल्यू नेगेटिव है वो ऑब्वियसली उसको डिक्रीज कर रही है.
जो हमारे पास टोटल वाली लाइन है इसमें जो इनिशियली हम लोगों की आरई पे आके बॉन्ड फॉर्म होता है ना.
एग्जैक्टली.
तो सर आरई से पहले जो है वो ईएन वाली फोर्सेस डोमिनेट कर रही थी.
हाँ जी. Okay, so let's move forward and discuss how these orbitals exactly overlap. All right, so we have discussed all the factors contributing towards stabilization or destabilization. Now we are going to construct molecular orbitals as per MO theory, and wave function describes an electron in a molecule and is called molecular orbital. So अगर आपके पास ये हाइड्रोजन का 1s है, ये एक दूसरे हाइड्रोजन का 1s है, right? So if the bond is formed between two, there is another orbital formed, उसका भी wave function होगा. Obviously there will be some wave function. I call it sigma 1. suppose first sigma bond बन जाता है. I can add any prefix or subscript, right? So that's the new wave function. The idea is now we are going back to our discussion where we are looking orbitals as waves. When two waves will overlap, what will be the result? Either the net energy will decrease or it will increase. The constructive interference leads to obviously decrease in the wave function energy, and the destructive overlap will increase the energy or the wave function. For a given molecule, there will be series of molecular orbitals of ever increasing energy, just like atomic orbitals, right? So atomic orbital में हमने सारा energy का trend देख लिया, जिसमें there are 1s, 2s, 2p, and so on. The discussion goes forward as we increase electrons, or we increase obviously atomic number towards higher atoms. So there are series of orbitals and obviously series of wave functions. Same will be the case here. जितने हमारा molecule complex होता जाएगा, उसमें इसी तरह करके काफी ज्यादा molecular orbitals होंगे. Obviously we won't be discussing complex molecular orbitals in this course, but that's the general idea. Again, you are being directed towards thinking that abhi tak, because this is the discussion you have seen in previous courses in schools or in colleges as well, okay, there are several orbitals in atoms. So they are now moving your discussion towards that, just like the orbitals exist in atoms, the same will be the case, they will exist in molecular orbitals, right? The square of MO wave function gives us the probability density of electrons. Yeah, we have seen that's the, just like atomic orbital का आपके पास psi था, हम probability density psi square से define की थी, and then when we got psi square by multiply r square, we call this probability as function of r. So the same goes here. The square of MO wave function describes this probability density. This one. Constructing MO means add atomic orbitals, locate on various atoms in a molecule. Okay, let's go towards that. So suppose this is the very simple case. One is proton and the one is hydrogen atom. And now we are going to construct molecular orbital. So keep in mind, even in this case, there is no electron around. There are obviously orbitals around this hydrogen atom. Why exactly? Because अगर इस proton को मैं किसी तरह, if I made a system जहाँ मैं इसको electron add कराऊँ, it can become hydrogen atom, right? So obviously orbitals do exist, even the electron is not there. So constructing MOs, excuse me. So 1s atomic orbital of atom, this is orbital coefficient described by how much overlap is there. So if this is atomic orbital, suppose 1s, so let's first discuss this one. This is the second 1s. Once they come closer, there will be a point when they will overlap. So this is the overlap, suppose here. So that's basically exactly the part where MO is present. So obviously wave function bilkul new hai, but each orbital kiska kitna part present hai, that will be defined by these coefficients, right? This overlap. Orbital coefficients determine how much of each atomic orbital, and the discussion stays same. कि भाई atomic orbital बनाना है, simply हमने we are given two wave functions, आप f of x कह लो, आप psi कह लो, we are going to add these two. Simple as that. Now this is the part of molecular orbital postulate. इसका postulate ये है कि when two wave functions come closer for overlap, there will be one constructive overlap and one destructive overlap. In the first one, same phase are being overlapped, right? So there is plus sign, ये भी psi है, ये भी psi है, obviously. In the second case, there is negative sign. What negative sign means? जो आपका phase है वो change हो जाता है wave का. We have seen the wave function plots before. Psi 2s इस तरह करके होते हैं. right after this radial node, this was the positive phase, this is the negative phase. And we have seen these negative phases before. So obviously अगर मैं उसको negative से multiply कर दूंगा तो phase आपका change हो जाएगा उस पूरे orbital का. Because s orbital is pretty simple, तो उसको समझना थोड़ा relatively आसान है. So so that's the case when we have constructive interference of two waves. ये भी s orbital है positive phase के साथ, ये s orbital है positive phase के साथ. ये plot हम पहले देख चुके हैं. We have seen this before in the previous slide, that at infinite distance there is no attraction, but as I am moving close, making them closer, this is the bond distance, bond length, right? And after that the energy increases. So for constructive interference, this is the equilibrium distance, or you can say the minimum energy. So that's the point where the bond is formed, and the bond is obviously formed in the cases where there is constructive overlap. So what exactly happens in the destructive overlap? So there is this positive phase, and then there is this negative phase. Why exactly? Because suppose आपका ये 1s orbital था, ये 1s orbital है, right? इसका RDF हमने इसको 1s orbital का wave function, sorry. This is the wave function of 1s. अगर मैं इसको negative से multiply कर दूंगा तो क्या होगा हमारे पास result? So that's the negative, this is the origin and the below is the negative, right? So क्या होगा आपके पास ये result आ जाएगा. So this is exactly what's happening here. Now this is the negative phase, this is the positive phase. Since they are out of phase already, so there won't be any constructive overlap when you bring this wave function closer to this wave function. They are already not matching, right? So there won't be any overlap, no increase in energy, but obviously nucleus exists right at the origin. So, and energy will increase, right? So it's let me explain it here so that
Excuse me, sir.
जी जी.
सर जो कंस्ट्रक्टिंग MO वाला पॉइंट है, लाइक उसको हमें ड्रॉ करना होगा और दो ऑर्बिटल्स का ओवरलैप शो करना होगा.
That depends आपको क्वेश्चन किस तरह आता है. अभी हम जस्ट थ्योरी की फाउंडेशन बिल्ड कर रहे हैं. Till now you need to know when there is constructive overlap. आपके पास एनर्जी का जो obviously प्लॉट आता है, that would be like some minima and then there is increase. अभी for now आपको इतना ही पता होना चाहिए. अभी हम उसको देखेंगे आगे किस तरह का हमें उसको करना पड़ सकता है. How we are going to explain it further. So let me just because we are good with the concepts when we start to visualize. जब हमने draw किए थे orbitals, 1s को अगर मैंने draw करता हूँ, so it's like this, right? And this idea, this exists in 3D. So if you imagine this plane in 3D, looking here, right? अगर आप यहाँ से इसको देख रहे हो and you imagine कि ये इस तरह करके एक सर्कल बना रहा है, तो एग्जैक्ट वही पिक्चर आ जाती है जो आपके इलेक्ट्रॉन डेंसिटी प्लॉट में थी कि सेंटर में मैक्सिमम है एंड एज यू आर मूविंग अवे इट फेड्स. जो आपकी स्लाइड्स में पिक्चर थी, देयर इज मैक्सिमम एट सेंटर, right? And as you are moving away, it is fading. So that's how the orbital exists, right? So so that's how it exists. And once now we were discussing actually constructive overlap is just quite simple tha, because this is the orbital 1s, like, and this is the other one, this is the nucleus, right? And now we are making them coming closer. I should have drawn with the same color means same phase. So since let me mention, this is the positive phase, this is also positive. So I'm talking about how constructive overlap happens. ये भी next slide में हम इसको देखेंगे भी. So once they are coming closer, this part will overlap this part, right? And obviously a time will come when there is some optimum distance. Suppose इसका इतना part overlap करता है, इसका इतना कर जाता है, and then after that the potential energy का ये वाला point आ जाता है, and then it increases. So इतना और इतना, that's where the bond is formed, or there is some sort of constructive overlap. तो इसका result क्या होगा? इसका result ये होगा कि मेरे पास so ये जो part है, now this is constructive overlap, right? ये हम next slide में देखते हैं इसको भी. So I'm just trying to explain the in terms of psi wave function, which you are already quite familiar with, because the MO theory is all about the wave functions. So, and we will explain all these in form of wave functions. So you know wave function exists क्योंकि अभी this form of wave function हम सिर्फ एक dimension में उसको draw कर रहे थे. Since this exists in 3D in this form, so when they are coming closer, these are the nucleuses. So that's how the overlap happens. यहाँ पे न्यूक्लियस है, यहाँ पे न्यूक्लियस है. इस डिस्टेंस के बाद अगर इनकी रिपल्शन ज्यादा हो जाती है और ये पॉइंट पहुंच जाता है, so that's the part where the bond is formed or energy is released, right? So let's go through the constructive overlap as well, जो भी हम बात कर रहे थे कि उसमें ग्राफ की शेप इतनी डिफरेंट क्यों है. So that's the first wave. Right, and what happens, this is psi 1s. अब मुझे यहाँ पे psi 1s नहीं चाहिए, because now we are talking about destructive interference, so there would be minus psi 1s. तो ये जो second wave function, I have to take negative of that wave function. So now you can imagine, now this is the negative wave function, right? So when you are going to add these two, psi 1s plus negative of psi 1s, you can already see these are the nucleus, right? When you are making these nucleus come closer, you can see there is no overlap, right? So when they will come closer, the picture would be like, yeah, because this is already in the opposite phase. That's why when the phase is different, there won't be any overlap. I hope it is clear now. अगर नहीं समझ आई, please do tell me, because this is slightly tricky concept. But if you imagine this in form of wave functions, I think it is more easy to grasp, because we are familiar with these sort of wave function. हमने जब negative उसका लिया, that is the case. Now when I bring these two nucleus closer along this axis, obviously, right? So you can see the result would be there won't be any overlap. So this is the first wave function and this is the second wave function, right? So there won't be any overlap. So that's why in this particular case, potential energy plot obviously always increases. Okay? Because obviously when I'm making them coming closer, since there is no constructive overlap, but there is some repulsion due to these nucleus, right? So let's go back to the slide and confirm.
Increase in energy तो constructive interference से नहीं होता.
Constructive interference से decrease हो जाएगी potential energy, because there is some the same phase are being overlapped. Electron वो हमने सारा देख लिया है कि why constructive overlap से energy decrease होती है, because nucleus attraction towards electron, this term dominates. एंड डिस्ट्रक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस कब होना है? व्हेन दे आर आउट ऑफ फेज, और वो भी मैंने आपको करके दिखाया है. एंड इन दैट पर्टिकुलर केस, सिंस देयर इज नो ओवरलैप, दैट्स व्हाई दिस एनर्जी विल इंक्रीज. वहां पे कोई मिनिमा नहीं आता. So let's move forward. Okay, so that's the same. They suppose these are at far distance apart, they are coming closer. Now this is the point where the bond is formed. Remember, the same color means the same phase. Constructive interference हो रही है and the bond is being formed. Very simple. This is the bond's length, basically the point at which this minima exists. Obviously this value is particular for a particular molecule. Here we are discussing, I think, hydrogen atom. Ca and Cb have same signs, 2 atomic orbitals add together. So when there is homonuclear bond, the overlap is the same, right? जो ये आपके constants हैं, ये हम बाद में देख लेते हैं next lecture में, जब when there will be heteroatomic bonds, the value of these constants will be different. But in case same systems like hydrogen, their value is same. So that's what exactly we had plotted it in form of wave function before. Once you have positive of wave function and then you take the negative of this wave function, the sign will obviously change. And in this particular overlap, there is no electron density. There is no overlap in if I state it precisely, there is no overlap. And in this particular case, क्या होगा? आपके पास energy increase कर जाएगी. So very simple take home message is, if there is constructive overlap, energy is going to decrease. If there is destructive overlap, energy is going to increase. If you are going to make a constructive overlap, obviously you have to add 2 wave functions. If there is destructive, you have to subtract 2 wave functions. So that's exactly what we had plotted before, जो हम देख रहे थे कि since this orbital exists in 3D, 1s के केस में 6a naught पे ये situation है, overlap अभी start होगा. There is some overlap here, and then there is the bond formed, and this is the bond length basically. And at this stage, there is this constructive overlap. राइट. डिस्ट्रक्टिव में हमने एक वेव फंक्शन का जब नेगेटिव ले लिया, उसकी वैल्यू इस तरह हो जाती है. नो मैटर हाउ मच आई ब्रिंग देम क्लोजर, देयर वोंट बी एनी ओवरलैप ऑफ दिस पार्ट टुवर्ड्स दिस, राइट? सो देयर इज नो decrease in energy. Energy will increase in any case. That's the density, color density plot which I was referring before, that when we plot these graphs, the density is maximum at the nucleus, and as I move away, it fades. So if you imagine this wave function plot in 3D form, it would exist like this. So if you do have any questions, you may ask right now before I move forward towards the bond angles or sigma or pi bonds. All right, so defining the different forms of bond, you need to imagine looking at the bond axis. If you are, this is your eye and you're looking along the axis, these are the two nucleus. That's the pretty simple way to comprehend this idea, right? If you are able to imagine in this way, then it's pretty simple. You simply need to rotate this bond and see what happens to electron density. जैसे ये constructive overlap हुआ था, if you look it along this axis and rotate it, there won't be any difference, any change towards this phase. Orbital spherical symmetric है, वो same ही रहेगा. Similarly, आप इसको भी देख लो. If you are looking along this axis, ये भी इसी तरह rotate करता रहेगा, right? Red वाला red की जगह पे ही रहेगा, blue वाला blue ही जगह पे रहेगा. So in all such cases, when you rotate and there is no phase change, all such bonds are called sigma bond. I hope it is clear. If we move forward towards p orbital, the p orbital electron density looks like this. Why exactly? Because if you have studied some organic chemistry before, you know when there is pi bond, there is parallel sort of overlap. This is suppose pz, py, positive phase, negative phase. When they both overlap, some sort of this distribution forms. Along the axis कोई electron density नहीं होती because there is parallel sort of overlap. So यहाँ पे electron density आ जाती है और यहाँ पे आ जाती है. So that's exactly what is being shown here. एक positive होगी और दूसरी obviously negative होगी. So now these are the nucleuses. Nucleus अपनी जगह पे है obviously. And if you look at this angle and rotate it, what you can see that after 180-degree rotation, the positive phase will take the place of negative phase and negative phase will take the place of positive phase. So that's the case, or that's particular definition for such bonds you call pi bonds. कि अगर उसको rotate करने से 180-degree rotate करने से along the axis phase change हो जाता है, you call such bonds as pi bonds. Same is the case for d orbitals or even these anti-bonding pi orbitals. So how exactly this orbital is being formed? Okay, so let me draw here. So उधर उन्होंने basically अगर आपका ये p orbital है, positive और negative ये इसका phase है. Second p orbital is like this. If the phase is opposite or it is obviously destructive interference, so the result would be some sort of this variation, like this one. Along the axis bond density नहीं होगी, but this is positive, this is negative, this is negative, this is positive, right? So that sort of figure happens when there is destructive interference between side 2p obviously or side 2p negative. The phase are opposite. So if you are looking at through this again same angle, this is the nucleus, right? And if you rotate it by 90 degrees. So I think 3D picture is a little bit more, gives more clarification, which is being drawn here. So since now the exact opposite phases are existing, like just forming a square, right? So यहाँ से इधर जाने में आपको सिर्फ 90-degree rotation देनी है उसको. So if you rotate again, the axis is same. You are looking through right at the center where there is nucleus. But now अगर आप इसको 90-degree rotation दो, the result would be blue will be at the place of red. This red will come here, this blue will come here, and this red will come here. So in very simple words, it forms a sort of square. 90-degree rotation से सारे phase change हो गए हैं. Such bond is basically called delta bond. So that was pretty much with the definitions of these bonds, and we do have very less time to cover rest of the lecture, but we'll discuss it tomorrow as well. But let's go through this. All right. So that was the first, where we were simply rotating the bonds through the axis and defining different bonds. Sigma bonds, no phase change. Pi bonds, 180-degree पे phase change होता है. Delta bonds, 90-degree पे phase change होता है. Center of symmetry क्या है? जो भी आपके पास system given है, आपने उसके center में एक point लेना है. Then you एक point से दूसरे point पे equal distance आपने center में से cross करके pass करना है. That's basically called inversion center or center of inversion. Simply stating, sigma bond आपका इस तरह की इसकी shape थी, और if I plot it in this form, it looks like this same electron density. So right at the center there is inversion center. किसी भी points को आप ले लो, equal distance cross करके center से opposite पे जाओ, there is no phase change. When there is no phase change, this symmetry is called Gerade or G. Now this bond will be represented by subscript G, right? This is called sigma G. And when the same case happens in the anti-bonding orbital, when you right at the center, you move from one point towards the other, passing through the center of inversion. If there is phase change, that is called sigma U. Subscript U means ungerade in basically German language. So that is basically, or you can also say antisymmetric or symmetric. So these are few what I can say basis of MOs जिसकी बेस पे हम different bonds को explain करेंगे. वो sigma है, sigma G है, sigma U है, and so on. पाई के केस में भी यही examples आएंगी. हमने inversion center ऐसे ही find करना है. So same case जो हमने orbitals को different distance में देखा था, अगर उसको हम एनर्जी की फॉर्म में देखें, दिस इज द एनर्जी ऑफ फर्स्ट ऑर्बिटल, दिस इज द एनर्जी ऑफ सेकंड, 6a0, जब डिस्टेंस बहुत कम है, बहुत थोड़ा ओवरलैप था. एंड व्हेन देयर इज सम कंसिडरेबल ओवरलैप, तो जो ऑर्बिटल एटॉमिक ऑर्बिटल की एनर्जी थी कंस्ट्रक्टिव ओवरलैप के केस में कम हो गई है, डिस्ट्रक्टिव ओवरलैप के केस में ज्यादा हो गई है. न्यू ऑर्बिटल दैट आर बीइंग फॉर्म्ड, दिस इज कॉल्ड 1 सिग्मा G, this is called 1 sigma U. एंटी बॉन्डिंग, ये एंटी बॉन्डिंग है, इसमें एनर्जी हमेशा इंक्रीज ही करनी है. सो नाउ दिस इज द पॉइंट ऑफ बॉन्ड लेंथ. इस केस में आप देख रहे हो कि एनर्जी जो कम हुई है वो रिलेटिवली इसके मुकाबले में it's less. That's why the constructive overlap will have less decrease in energy, destructive overlap will have quite high increase in energy. So that's just the energy diagrams of two orbitals depicting how you are going to form bonds or display the overlap in forms of energy. Okay, atomic orbitals, these are for homonuclear orbitals. Suppose hydrogen है, यहाँ भी hydrogen है, क्योंकि atomic orbitals hydrogen की same energy होगी. Destructive से कम हो जाएगी, constructive से energy कम हो जाएगी, destructive से it will increase. So these are some other factors or area under the plot. Or obviously we have seen this idea that when these two orbitals come closer, they will overlap. Some area will be overlap, and we can obviously plot that as well, because we do have psi wave functions. Since we do have the wave functions, we can by plotting, by adding them with respect to this distance, we can see what's the area under the plot that is being overlapped by these two wave functions. And that's the general overlap they have shown here. Orbital integral is the area under the plot of the product of two AOs. So these were, AOs means atomic orbitals. So these were the atomic orbitals when there was no overlap or overlap just started. And that was the point where the bond was formed. Sorry, they haven't mentioned here which A0 or what's the distance here. So I cannot say the bond is formed here. Anyhow, the point of discussion is that when there is overlap, there is some area under the curve. Very simple. And obviously it will vary as we change the atomic number as well. So if the atomic number is higher, you know the size is greater, sorry, small. In case of hydrogen and helium, let's discuss these two. Atomic number is 1 here, atomic number is 2 here. So hydrogen has the bigger size, helium has the smaller one. So that's the overlap that is being happening in case of hydrogen, and that's the overlap that is being happening in case of helium. because nucleus अपनी center पे ही है, that's why the nucleus repulsion will be more. For smaller orbitals उसमें आपका कम overlap हो रहा है. Orbital is bigger. If the orbital is bigger, there will be more overlap. And that's how they have shown it. Orbital integral for hydrogen is 2.3 A naught. For helium, it is 1.2 A naught. And I know it is clear now because now we are explaining in terms of the size of orbitals. Bigger the size, more overlap will be. Smaller the size, there will be less overlap. And that's the same that is being depicted by this orbital integral overlap. So I think we should stop here. We do have one slide left. All right, that's the summary. And the summary states some of the postulates of molecular orbital diagram forms linear combination of atomic orbitals. Obviously, their nucleus is the center, we come closer, there is some linear overlap between these two atoms. The combination of two AOs, atomic orbitals, on two atoms gives two molecular orbitals. So that's the postulate of a molecular orbital theory, which is slightly confusing in a sense that if I say this is one s orbital, this is one s orbital as well. When they come closer, I say they are overlapping constructively, and this is the bonding molecular orbital is formed. And now I say when they destructively overlap, this is the first orbital. Now this